When I make these videos, I'm always bound to miss some things I could have included. Some of these things were left out of the original Heartstopper Deep Dive series because I didn't find them on time, or I forgot to include them or didn't deem them necessary. But most simply came out after I had already published the video they would fit into. So here's all that stuff and where I would have put it. I also omitted most talk about the music from the original Deep Dive series because I thought it would be too much and confusing to go into it along with everything else. But I got requests to talk about the music as well, so from now on I'll look into the songs more.
I wish I thought that I was pretty so that I could turn you on. I had a dream you called me pretty and I told you you were wrong.
The song fits Charlie's state of mind with his relationship with Ben. He'll go anywhere Ben wants him to go because he's excited about having his first boyfriend and he hasn't learned to not be a blind follower of the object of his crush yet.
And then I look for parts of you in every person that I meet because my brain is dissipated and not where it used to be.
But I was looking for like another big series or like a film to try and get myself on as designer. And so I kind of like following all sorts of kind of different film websites and, you know, like crew directories, and I'd seen Heartstopper come up and it was, you know, LGBTQ story and about these two boys. And so I'd kind of looked it up and sort of seen what it was about. And I found the producer's email kind of for that series. So I kind of emailed her and sort of didn't think too much of it. And then got an email a little while later saying, would you be able to interview? You know, are you free these dates? Are you available? So I was like, oh yeah, definitely, please, love to do that. Please send me the script. So I read the scripts and just thought it was amazing. I had so many ideas just in my head straight away. So that was the interview really. When you go on, it's like your chance to present your ideas from the scripts. So obviously I had like Alice, Patrick, Eros, Zorana, everyone all on the Zoom, all the different squares all looking at you, and you're kind of trying to present all your mood boards and your ideas. And I had terrible sketches of like all the different school uniform badges because I'd already had that idea. I wanted to do the different seasons and the different badges, how they change. So I'd kind of sketched out some really rough ideas of that to kind of try and show, and then some fashion ideas and also references to Alice's illustrations and how to do costumes that would sort of look like those at the beginning, you know, like. So yeah, that was my opportunity really, and then perhaps right person, right job, and I was taken on as the designer. And
how did that make you feel? How did that make you feel when you got the yes?
Yeah, amazing, really, and just really excited to have the opportunity to really, you know, get your teeth into a really good series, and it's nice to establish something. So obviously you can come on as a designer on like a second or third season of something that's already established. But you're maybe following on from something that's already set up. So it's really lovely to set it up kind of at the beginning and be involved in those early conversations with the directors and the producers, their vision for the show and what they want it to look like and how your ideas work with that. It's, you know, and like I said at the beginning, collaborative. So, you know, that's really a really fun part of the process.
But I was basically just getting loads of short films, trying my best to get work wherever I could. And luckily enough, from the National Film and Television School, I got an email from one of the producers of Heartstopper, and they were looking for a composer, and they were searching quite a wide net of both established composers and also newly graduated composers. So I was one of the lucky newly graduate composers to get an opportunity to send music, and they liked kind of what I did, and I pitched stuff for it and managed to get it. So that was kind of my route into Heartstopper, and then from then on it kind of kept flowing.
So everything's okay? There's no bullies I need to sort out again?
No, everything's fine. Actually, there is kind of someone.
A bully? Mr. Ajayi doesn't share a lot of his personal life at all. And yet Charlie knows that he is somebody that provides a safe space. So it's not about oversharing. It's about, I think, small gestures that let the kids in your class and the kids in the school and the other teachers know what you're about. And I think the small gestures lead to big changes. I love his boldness. It's a very small gesture to have a little pride pin, but it just lets kids who know, you know? And so to have a teacher who's going to like really boldly and openly state with a really simple gesture, I'm gay too, come and talk to me, is kind of like quite a powerful little statement.
And I sort of went, wow, I get to play a version of a teacher I had. So Mr. Lennox was my maths teacher. My questions. And when I was being bullied, I would often have lunch in his classroom, and he would just let me sit in his classroom, and he wouldn't ask me questions. He wouldn't like belabor the point. He would just let me sit there and eat my lunch. So he just gave me a space to sit that wasn't in the canteen and that wasn't with everyone else. Mr. Ajayi is exactly that for Charlie. But the difference being that Mr. Ajayi is also gay and has probably grown up in a time where that wasn't okay.
I really wanted to make a clear distinction between being a friendly teacher who gives advice and being somebody's friend, because I think there's a real distinction to be made there, right? He can't get so involved in Charlie's life that, you know, I don't know, because it'd be wrong to have Charlie's number, for example, or something. And so there's got to be a really fine line between, I'm here to support you, I'm going to be open and proud about my identity so that anyone who's struggling knows that they can talk to me, but I'm also going to make very clearly defined lines so that you know, and I know, and we know that this only goes so far. I think it's what Alice did so wonderfully in the script, because the sarcasm and the kind of sass and the sort of laid back attitude of him is the thing that keeps Charlie sort of, keeps that relationship from crossing a line, you know?
Morning.
Jesus, Tori.
Why's your face like that?
Broke up with my boyfriend.
Was he a knob?
Yes.
Well done then.
Literally just another silly crush.
It's not a crush. I don't just fall for any guy who's nice to me. We'll never meet up when you want to, where you want to, when you feel like kissing a boy. You don't care about me at all.
Well, it's not like anyone else is going to want to go out with you, is it?
What do you do to get into character as Ben Hope?
I made a playlist, but also try and hold on to the feeling of not loving yourself and how that manifests itself. The playlist is a lot of like angsty, self-pitying songs.
Charlie, he told you to stop.
It's a pretty sort of incredible way to start the show.
I mean, I want to punch him, and it's my face.
Yeah.
I'm going this way, so...
Yeah, I'm that way.
A song called Don't Delete the Kisses is very fitting for this moment where Charlie is struggling with what message to send Nick, and he contemplates deleting the X signifying a kiss in the end, but makes the ultimate right choice to keep it in there.
From the street I see your window and I look up in.
I get that they wanted to showcase queer artists in the soundtrack, but this song about liking girls is pretty misleading when paired with this montage of Elle just longing for female friendship.
Mr. Ajayi.
Charlie Spring.
I have a question.
Well, I am officially a beacon of learning, so fire away.
How do I stop liking someone, specifically a straight guy?
A question for the ages. You know, when I was a teenager and had a crush on a straight boy, I just repressed it and suffered.
When he says,
when I was a teenager, I had a crush on a straight boy and I repressed it and suffered. What are your thoughts on that particular moment?
I think it's so accurate. I remember reading it going, oh God, yeah. Because there were a lot of crushes on straight boys, because I'm sure there were plenty of gay kids at school, but you didn't know. There was like one, I remember, he was incredibly camp and incredibly flamboyant. And at the time, I was still dealing with a lot of shame and guilt. And so I did my very best to sort of distance myself from him, because I didn't want to be caught out, I suppose. And I think that repression, eventually, with therapy, you understand why. Because it was kind of necessary for some people, because they want to avoid the ridicule and shame of fancying somebody who has no interest in them, right? And that's like complicated enough between heterosexual people. But when you're gay and you feel like you may be the only gay in a school or one of two, it's sort of even worse, I suppose. But also I think like the ease at which he says that, like the ease at which the line comes out is also something that tells you that he's dealt with it. He's like, there was a lot of repression and it was very hard. But anyway, he's that guy that sort of like, yeah, it was tough. And he moves on quite swiftly. But I think he just lets Charlie know. He's letting Charlie know in a really subtle, very quick way that it was really hard for me because when I was a kid, but it's not going to be as hard for you. Here's some advice.
That doesn't sound very healthy.
I feel that Mr. Ajayi had quite a tough time. And I think sometimes when people go through hardships in their lives, it can do many things, but I think it does one of two mainly. It either hardens you, and so you become a sort of no-nonsense, like quite angry, embittered. It embitters you. Or you do the opposite, where you go, I had this horrible experience, and I will do my utmost to make sure that nobody like me ever has to feel that way again. I feel like that's what he represents. He goes, I had a tough time. I will make sure that no child in my class, in this school, ever has to go through what I went through. And I think it's a supreme act of empathy and kindness. I think the way he's decided to be, because it is a choice, he's decided to be this person for these kids. I think the way he's decided to be is entirely due to his own experiences when he was that age. Now, this may seem obvious, but have you tried putting some space between you?
No, well, I can't do that.
Or can't or don't want to?
No, he's a really good friend.
I'm afraid you're just going to have to suffer then.
Most people here are nice, just don't do anything Darcy says. She'll have you taking part in her lunchtime games of American football in the science corridor.
Have you two been friends for a long time?
Yeah, crazy bestie thingies, yeah.
Oh, best gal pals.
So much enthusiasm, kids.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, best gal pals.
Best gal pals, yeah, they're trying to hide the background. Yeah.
Love
Yeah, and then I think Monster Munch is thrown.
Best gal pals.
Since you're 7, so 5 years of hell. Oh.
This is Nelly. I'm in the league. Can you just let me? Can you let me win one time? You've already won like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, and I'm going easy on you.
Alex was asked on Tumblr, Chronic Introvert, about the significance of Mario Kart as a recurring reference in Heartstopper. Her answer was that it's just a game she personally likes a lot.
Try this one.
If you wanna dance, then dance with me.
First up, a heart-stopping piece. It's Nick Nelson's coat.
The auction included Kit's script that was found in the coat pocket. The jacket sold for £18,500 on October 21st, 2024.
This is what you do at parties, right?
Is there a scene from the comics that have been adapted into the series that you are the most proud of? Because there's so many good ones. I know that's a hard question, but what's the first thing that might come to mind?
I think first thing that comes to mind is probably the snow day in season 1. Obviously, that was a very tricky thing to achieve. It involved snow machines and completely transforming this area of a park into a snowy field. And it looks so beautiful in the show, and I wasn't really expecting it to look so magical because I knew it would be a difficult thing to make happen. So,
and that was a kind of amazing day in another way because Kit and Joe had just been announced as Nick and Charlie when we were filming.
Yes.
So it had gone out in the press that like these were the two actors that had been cast in those roles, and so their phones were like blowing up. So they would like run around and do this kind of magical, like fun improv in the snow, and then it'd be cut and they'd go back to their phones, and I just saw them seeing their lives kind of change in quite a big way, and that added to it too.
Charlie seems like a lovely boy. When did you meet him?
The casting of Olivia Colman, like, my word, how did that come about, really?
Well, we had this idea. We wanted like a big actress to play Sarah, who is Nick's mum. And so we sort of came up with a list of ideas for actors we could ask. And at the top of that list was Olivia Colman. And I literally said several times that this was the stupidest idea I'd ever heard. Because I thought there was no way she was going to want to do it. Because, you know, we're just this small, like we were just a little show. We don't have any other really, really big names attached at that point. And why would she want to come and be in our show? But we just asked, and we sent her some of the scripts and some of the comic as well. And she clearly liked it and wanted to be in it. So
she'd also worked with Eros, our director, so I think that helped a little bit because she was like, I love Eros so much, I'll do anything. And then when she got there and met Kit, and we had an amazing 2 days of filming where she brought this kind of like emotional newness to it because she hadn't been part of the journey to that point. And she was just like, oh my God, your little face. I'm just gonna, you know, she would be crying for real in the rehearsal. And it was so sweet to see kind of Kit's energy feeding off that, to have someone like that as a scene partner. And and all the crew, she was so lovely. Everyone wanted to tell their coming out story to her. So there was almost like a cue to her trailer to be like, this is how I came out. She was just listen to everyone from, So it was great.
He's very different to your other friends, isn't he? You seem much more yourself around him.
Do I?
You do.
As your token straight friend, it's my duty to remind you that sometimes people are straight. It's an unfortunate fact of life.
But we don't know if she actually likes Nick back.
Isaac, I've already warned you about encouraging Charlie's crushes on straight boys.
I want to believe in romance. But I want to believe in romance. Yeah.
I think it is. You want to? It's either that or massive heterosexual.
I said that.
Let's watch the real thing.
Okay. Here we go. I miss your hair, Will.
I've already warned you
I
about
do.
encouraging
Yeah,
Charlie's
you look so
crushes on
fit
straight
like that.
boys.
But I want to believe in romance. Yay. My claim to fame.
Do you know a girl called Tara Jones?
Yeah.
Can you ask her if she likes Nick Nelson? Tao? There we go. No.
Alice was asked on their Tumblr, Chronic Introvert, about when Nick realized Charlie likes him back. She said she thinks Nick didn't pick up on it until after he became aware of his own crush on Charlie, which would be around or just after when this hug happened. According to Alice, becoming aware of his own feelings made Nick become aware of Charlie's feelings in return. Him already having a feeling Charlie likes him actually makes sense with how Nick acts with him at the party later.
So why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why am I?
Like, it's the dream as anyone that's ever written a song to have your story paired with someone else's story and given like a new context. The writer of the Heartstopper comics and the show, Alice, I heard after that she wrote the scene around the song, which made sense why they let the song sort of play out and there was no dialogue over it, and I feel like it just soundtracks a moment, and then you get just so much of the song. Like, all these things are like the dream. You don't get to choose that as the artist. You get a request to be in a series and you say yes or no. But like, the first time I saw that was when it was on Netflix. I didn't get a preview or anything, and when I watched it I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. And I was also just like in bits because I was just watching this like beautiful queer love story that I think is like so important for younger people to have. It's just so important. So it's just like watching that, and it was almost like my song was playing and I was like, this is a bonus, but I'm just so glad that this exists and is there.
We had a playlist all through while we were developing the show and writing the show. We were like continually adding to this playlist, and we had like quite a clear vision of the vibe and the type of music we wanted, like really young, Jen says, kind of indie pop type stuff. And then later, once we had all the scripts, we started thinking like, what are the big music moments in the show? Like, where will we definitely need a song? And then we were like brainstorming, what song could that be? And so we had quite a lot of...
It's so fun, that bit.
Yeah,
it's the funnest
fun.
bit. It's like, yeah, you're just excited. Like, do you feel something in music? And then you can talk about it and then try it over the cut. It's like, yeah, really great.
No matter what I do, it's bad, it's hurting, and I don't feel like I'm my own person.
It's interesting because I do find I cried when we watched all the episodes. I went to a screening and we all got to watch it all. The bit where Nick is Googling, how do you know if you're gay? I sobbed. Like, it was embarrassing. I was like, I've done that too. Like, it was awful. I was like, oh my God, I did that. And we're like, I don't know how many years away that was. But yeah, I feel like the heartbreak is very real in the show.
I just feel like some other version of me.
We're talking about Tara Jones. Apparently she's going to be at Harry's party.
What about her?
Didn't you have some childhood romance thing with her?
We don't have a thing. We just kissed at a party one time.
Isaac reads some crazy books. It's like some of the stuff he pulls out, I'm like, who is this for? I remember one day I was just like, I think I was just it was a scene just in my bedroom. I was like, oh yeah, very easy scene, that I'll just flip through a page in the book. And they brought out this book on quantum mechanics. And I was like, who is that for? Who's reading that book?
Yeah, no, Tobie, his looks really, evolved really nicely, I think. Mm-hmm. I think the very first season, when we were trying to find all these different characters, and he could have been a bit slightly geekier or, because of the book.
Totally.
And so it was trying to find a way to make him not as, still have a personality and something to show.
I was thinking some of like the big scenes, like the concert or parties, like you have all of these different background actors. Is that something that you get to have a choice in? Like, make sure they all wear like single toned color shirts to kind of match the environment. Is that something you have a say in?
Yeah, I think in Heartstopper, from the first season, really, there was always kind of a color palette that we tried to sort of stick to, and those are picked out from the different covers of the books and Alice's artwork online. So I think it was important to make sure the crowd on all those days, everyone sort of fits in with those color schemes. So there's no one's really in kind of like a bright primary color, particularly, unless we choose to do that with the main cast for like a specific reason. Everyone kind of fits like a tonal kind of.
Exactly. It blends in well.
And I think that really worked with the art department and production design and what they've done and how we work together to kind of make all of that, gel.
So amazing. And I mean, it's amazing just being there on the day and then seeing it all edited with all the colors. It's like such an elevation of what you've seen already, which is already amazing. So I feel like when I was on set, I was just in a trance the whole time because it's just so surreal to hear people perform words that you've written. But yeah, it's so cool.
I think, well, as Kizzy says, that you had drawn in these little doodles, we call them Heartstopper doodles, and when we were in development with Netflix, we really wanted everyone who read it at Netflix to visualize what it could be. And so it was quite laborious and put a bit of pressure on you, which, it got a bit old after a while, but we would drop these little doodles into the script. And so that meant that when the actors started reading it, when the HOD started reading it, they had some sense of like the celebration of that moment. And I think it's about going, this is a moment in a story and we're honoring that, but it's also a moment to say there's a pride flag on screen. And so it's for any young person watching it to feel like that's for them. They should feel included in this moment. And it's about openness and communication and joy. And that comes from you and from the source material. So.
I think one of my favourite costumes probably is Tara and Darcy, that party in season 1. And we did that transformation. So we had 2 of the same outfit. So one was completely plain, and then the second one we Swarovskied with crystals. So,
oh my God.
And there's an edit. So we filmed the scene a couple of times, one with one outfit and one with the other. So the way they've edited it together, you kind of just get that heightened emotion and
yeah.
euphoria
It's such a great with the close up of their faces and the makeup and the sparkles.
Yeah, that's a real favourite moment, I think, from that season.
Would you go out with someone who wasn't a girl?
For me, it's all about the little moments, like really making the audience feel how exciting it can be just to touch hands or just a glance across a classroom. It's about making those little moments feel massive, which they can do at that age.
I think that was actually the last kissing scene of season 1 we shot, even though it's the first kiss. So I think it was nice because we were more comfortable with each other, and that's like the scene that matters the most. So it was nice to be able to it was near the end of the shoot, if I remember rightly. It's weird talking about it like so far in the past, but it was like 3.5 years ago we did it. So yeah, it's just very sweet. It's a very sweet scene. I sometimes find it hard to watch things, but that one was quite nice to watch because, I don't know, it's like good memories. I remember it was really hot. It was so warm, and we all got Five Guys milkshakes, but then by the time we got to drink them, because we were shooting, they were all warm and gross and horrible. That's my inside info for that scene.
Heartstopper, for season 1, we were working together in pre-production. We had like a week's worth of like rehearsals for all the seasons. We would do rehearsals beforehand. I would have conversations with all the couples or individuals as well, and we'd literally talk through every single scene. And some scenes were like, hey, should we just get this up on its feet and just mark it through for now, just so we got a rough sketch of the shape what it could be. So when it came to the day, they knew exactly what was going to happen. They knew, like, there was no mystery for them, you know, allowing them to just be confident and comfortable. And you know, obviously working with younger artists is a whole other thing for us as ICs. Your process is heightened, your listening is heightened. You know, you have to really dig deep for the word no, and that kind of feeling of like, this might be their first ever job. You know, they don't want to, the idea of I don't want to be difficult is even more. And maybe they've never even spoken about boundaries or consent in their personal life. So it's a whole new way of working and conversations that they may not have had before.
You okay?
Alice was asked on their Tumblr, Chronic Introvert, what Nick would have said here if Harry had not interrupted them. She imagines Nick would have replied, I think so. They also answered a question about what would have happened if Charlie didn't make the first move at Harry's party. Quote from writer Alice Oseman.
If Charlie hadn't gently asked Nick about his feelings and whether he wanted to kiss at Harry's party, I don't think anything would have happened between them that night. While Nick definitely is aware of his attraction to Charlie at that point, he's still finding it very new and confusing and isn't really sure what to do with those feelings, or if anything can be done with them. He's really just acting on instinct, the touches, and the hand-holding. But anything more solidly and inescapably romantic, like kissing, is still very scary to him. There's no way he would have made any kind of move unless he was absolutely sure Charlie liked him back. In fact, even if he did know that, he still probably wouldn't quite have found the courage to do anything until he felt more confident that this was what he wanted and was something he wanted to pursue. I think it's also interesting to remember that at that point, Nick has much less experience of romance. I say that in quotation marks, because I don't think Ben and Charlie's relationship can really qualify as a romance. By which I mean, Nick hasn't really properly kissed anyone before. I don't think a peck on the lips as a tween really counts. Whereas Charlie obviously has kissed Ben a lot, and generally has a lot more knowledge and experience of what happens when two people fancy each other. All this to say, it makes a lot of sense to me that Charlie makes the first move. And in summary, no, I don't think Nick would have been able to make the first move at that point.
Hi. That's a really iconic scene in the comics, and it's a pretty iconic scene now in the show.
Yeah, I'd say so.
My only real memory of it was being a little bit annoyed because I kind of had this dream that, you know, I would look kind of cool, like in the rain, and, you know, my hair would be very kind of Ryan Gosling-y in The Notebook, and yet it sort of looks like I've got sort of spider legs on my, I've got like 3 strands of wet hair. It just looks a bit strange.
As an outsider,
it wasn't quite as sexy as
can I
look.
just aggressively disagree with you not achieving the Ryan Gosling Notebook
Stop
look?
it.
It's
I'm
true.
I'm going to be squeezing his knee because he's just flirting with me all day.
Whoa.
Thank you, Bash.
Wow.
Did you forget a coat?
Yeah, I didn't check the weather before I left.
Idiot.
I'm so sorry.
God, everyone looks so young.
I'm just so sorry I ran away last night. I was just freaking out because I was confused and surprised and, like, honestly, having a proper full-on gay crisis.
Yeah. I'm like having a proper full-on gay crisis. Soaking wet on the bed with his shoes on. Hate it. I hate it so much. So rude.
It's really quite offensive, the fact that he's walked into Charlie's room with his shoes on, soaking wet. He's just
Sat down on the bed.
Sat down on the bed. I mean, he's the real villain of the story. I'm having a proper full-on gay crisis.
It's not that deep, mate.
Just like a boy. It happens to the best of us.
Iconic.
And it's not that I didn't want to, you know, kiss you. I was just so confused. The full-on gay crisis is a line that I was so confused about how to play. I had no idea how to say it. It's quite funny, really. It's a really funny line. And I didn't feel like the way that we were playing the scene was very funny.
There was another moment that I'm thinking of from season 1 where it's in the bedroom where Nick has come round to Charlie's and he's come in the rain, and it's like, I'm having a proper full-on gay crisis that moment. And we filmed that in a studio, and I saw Kit was kind of getting into the dramatic mode for that, because it's obviously quite a big, intense scene. And like the hair and makeup people are like spritzing his hair so it looks like he's just come in from the rain. And he was just totally in the zone. And it was the first time I'd seen him act like one of those really kind of like big two-hander scenes with Joe. And he just went in and smashed it, and it was just so incredibly moving. Like that sort of like, I don't know what to do, I'm freaking out. It felt really real.
One thing I remember about this scene is I had the t-shirt I was wearing. I'd been wearing it for the 2 days before on set, and I think it must have forgotten to be washed. And because Kit had to like nuzzle into my shoulder, I remember like it smelled so bad.
Oh,
and then Kit thought that I just hadn't showered.
It
or hadn't
really
washed.
did. I didn't want to say it, but it did smell
And then
bad.
I was like to Costume, I was like, is this t-shirt been washed? And they're like, oh my god, we're so sorry. And they gave me a new one. And I just remember being really quite embarrassed.
Yeah. Was there a moment from season 1 that you can remember where you were watching their work and you both thought, oh, we made the right decision?
I mean, so many moments. I think probably the first like romantic scene they had to do was when Charlie runs out of the house in the rain and then they kiss under the umbrella. I remember us being really stressed about that because we were like, this is the test. Like the romantic chemistry has to be there, or the show's not going to be good.
Yeah. The day was running long, and we were kind of losing time a little bit, and we were losing light, and it was taking a really long time to set that up because I think there were rain machines because he's running down the rain.
Full giant rain machines.
It was
freezing. They're freezing, like they're really cold, and everyone's kind of uncomfortable because it's horrible weather and like. But they just nailed it, and I remember I was standing next to the director's assistant, and we were watching it, and I turned to him, and he just had like tears streaming down his face watching this scene. And we were like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be okay. The show's gonna be good.
I find the consistency of the colours blue and yellow / orange incredible throughout the show, more than I've ever noticed before on TV, so subtle and consistent. How was that decided, and what was the process and conversations behind that?
That was, I think that really came from Eros, our director, who was just so passionate about being really consistent with the look and feel of the show and inspiring his HODs to look at all the drawings that Alice had done that had colours in them, because the graphic novel is black and white, but you do colour illustrations outside of that. And so we took the kind of colour palette from that, and our production designer, our costume designer, and our DOP all worked together to make sure that there was this palette that ran through the show. So blue and yellow is a very kind of Nick and Charlie theme that recurs, and we had like the bisexual flag colours a lot when Nick's on screen, and I think it's just that everyone was doing it for the love of the source material and for the love of the story, and so those little added elements, lighting being a big part of that, just came naturally from the whole kind of crew, and yeah, it was great.
Come on, man! For the third time!
I have now found the explanation for why Otis was called Omar at one point.
When you think about it, there are 1,200 people at this school, so at least a few of them are going to be lesbians.
Maybe you're a lesbian and you have no idea.
What's one line from Heartstopper
that you'll never forget?
Maybe you're a lesbian and you don't even know it. She was the best. Like, she was in season 1, sorry, I get really excited about this. She's amazing. Stole the show. One line. Amazing.
Her name was Tiny Girl.
Tiny Girl 1.
That was the character name.
That was what it said in the script, right? And maybe you're a lesbian and you don't even know it. And that is exactly how... She's incredible. A big fan of her.
So you and Nick are definitely not.
I'm a lesbian.
Oh, okay. I'm not like homophobic. I'm an ally.
Hey.
I'm not like homophobic. I'm an ally. Done. I'm not like homophobic. I'm an ally.
Congratulations. We thank you for your service.
Spot on, spot on.
Boom.
No notes, methinks.
I mean,
boom.
Give us a challenge.
How do I feel about my I'm an ally line? I think it's such a brilliant piece of writing, and I think it was I actually think it's a really important scene to show. And I mean, it's wonderful. It's, you know, you want your work to be like recognized and people to enjoy it. So that was really lovely. It does follow me around everywhere. It haunts me in my sleep, that line. Everything I do. She's an ally.
And you know, I'm hoping there's people at the autograph area just holding up cardboard signs saying I'm an ally. Can we sort that for tomorrow, please? Yeah?
But no, you know, that was one of my favorite scenes to film. So yeah, no, it's nice that, you know, people are receptive to it.
I'm not like homophobic. I'm an ally.
I'm an ally.
Congratulations. We thank you for your service.
The face.
The eyes. I remember doing the read-through.
Yeah, I was about to say the same
and, like,
thing.
when I read it, Imogen wasn't necessarily a character that I, like, could see that way. And the first time Rhea did it, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be iconic.
I think we all knew that this would be a meme, at least, because it's just so iconic. It's never been done before. She tries to be an ally, which I love. And we all knew that this would pop off, and it did.
Didn't we recreate the scene on TikTok, Bash, and got like 20 million views or something stupid like that?
Oh yeah.
I'm not like homophobic. I'm an ally.
I mean, I think everyone's had a go at remaking.
I haven't actually.
Well,
I think
needs
I'm
to
gonna
happen.
leave that. I think I'm gonna leave that
Like
to everyone's imagination.
We'll make it happen.
You have got some iconic one-liners.
So many good lines.
It's great lines that Alice writes for Imogen. It's really fun to do.
What's your favourite one-line moment?
It's the obvious one. I did really enjoy the I'm not homophobic, I'm an ally.
I'm not like homophobic. I'm an ally.
Because it was my second day ever filming that day on a film set, and it just like the vibe was really good, and like it landed well, and I think that will always be like really special to me, because I was like, oh no, this is good, you know.
Oh, so this is Tara and Darcy.
Yeah, hi.
Charlie! My guy? I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm mainly here to get acquainted with the local gays.
I think series 1 was really cathartic. Yeah, like the cast and crew, most of us are queer, and that felt safe. The highlights, I think, were when we were all together. We filmed a scene where the boys do a big rugby match. And that was, I think, the day that most of us were on set together. And I just have such sweet little memories of us like huddling up in a tent while it's freezing cold, watching bad X Factor auditions. we just all got so close.
Yeah. I'd also say, like, just, for me, every day on set was fun, because I was running around being a student. I was like, I'm being a teen again. So I just think, the atmosphere of everyone being so welcoming as well, and so, like, I'm really nosy, so I was going up to people doing sound, like, what are you doing? Can I help? And everyone was just, like, so welcoming to that, and allowed us to have the space to be curious whilst being creative, and then it's a safe space, so I think that's how we got like most of the magic. We were just allowed to be, so yeah, it was great.
Actually, to be honest, those scenes where I have to do things like that, where I have to be super outgoing and comfortable, and it does flash me back to like being in season 1 and having, being in these massive party scenes where there are loads of like supporting actors sort of, you know, filling the room. And then, you know, you just feel like all eyes are on you, and it's awful. It's so dreadful, especially like trying to play rugby in Heartstopper. They brought in like a real rugby team, and you know, obviously they were going like, okay, just play rugby, and then no one was passing me the ball because why would they? And then suddenly they had to tell these guys like, you know, okay, this is Kit, pass Kit the ball, let him get the ball. And then suddenly the next take they started like just screaming, get it to Kit, get it to Kit, get it to Kit. And then they had to cut it again and go, that was great, but just call him Nick. Oh, no. And then we're there. But again, I just remember thinking, this is awful. Like this is, like, you know, trying to play rugby, trying, emphasis on trying, and just all I can hear is get it. It was pretty stressful.
I wanted to ask you if maybe we could like go out somewhere together, like I guess sort of a date.
The comics are so low stakes. Like when problems arise in the story of the comic, they're solved almost immediately, and that is something that people like about the comic. But that just doesn't work for TV, because if there's no drama, people are going to get bored. So the big changes that we made were all in the view of sort of adding more tension and elongating the character journeys. Like, for example, Nick, who goes on this sort of sexuality journey in Heartstopper. In the show, it takes him longer to sort of figure out who he is and feel comfortable with who he is, while in the comics, he sort of figures out very quickly, and that's really nice. But yeah, so there are differences, and I'm at peace with that, and I think that is possible while also preserving the essence of the comic.
Urban angel, realize what I do to make you mine.
Oh no. No.
Hand over.
Thank you.
I can't believe this whole conversation was a ploy for you to witness my incredibly erotic dance moves.
No, it's just the dancing.
Oh no, this is the dancing.
Why you do this to her? Can't watch.
Guys, tell it when you see it.
Oh, I can, and this isn't it.
No. No. Oh, I've done that before, actually. I've done that move before. Oh, that was fun. Yeah,
I remember I actually hit you in that take.
Every take, it was like, I finished the dance.
The hit would go.
Bang! Bang!
Go ahead and try me ahead.
Everyone, this is Nick.
I kind of overheard you and Tal in the bathroom earlier. I wanted to say sorry about the date with Imogen thing.
Alice was asked on her Tumblr, Chronic Introvert, about how Nick would have handled the situation with the date with Imogen if he hadn't overheard Tal talking to Charlie about it. Quote from writer Alice Oseman.
I think he would have cancelled with Imogen very last minute, perhaps even more last minute than he does in the show. I'm unsure whether he would have gotten the courage on that day to tell Charlie what had happened. I don't think he would, actually. He'd just be focused on having a fun time with Charlie. And he also would be a bit afraid of ruining Charlie's birthday by dropping that news on him. But I expect he would have been honest about it sooner rather than later. Nick's quite smart, and he'd probably realize that it's best to be honest with Charlie about that whole situation, rather than let it come out later and risk Charlie feeling like Nick kept a big secret from him.
So
could find you in any world. You know that you're the one I wanna be with
I was about 14 when I realised I was bisexual. I had a best friend at the time and we were completely inseparable. And one day we shared a kiss and I didn't feel weird about it. I didn't feel like it was an odd thing to do. In fact, it felt incredibly right.
Courtney J shared the original script he was given for this scene on Twitter, now X, @Courtney_J95. Of course, this scene was changed as he was allowed to improvise the YouTube video for the show using his own authentic story instead. There were originally 2 different scenes featuring a YouTuber called Layla Vlogs. I'll just go ahead and read what the original script said to you. Interior, Nick's bedroom, night. Nick is sprawled on his bed, laptop open. Into the browser search bar, nervous, he types, bisexual. He immediately spots a video with the title How I Knew I Was Bisexual by a YouTuber called Layla Vlogs. He clicks on it and skips a little way into the video. Layla Vlogs. Number 4. Childhood crushes. When I was around 10, I suddenly became very obsessed with Doctor Who during the David Tennant era. I watched all the episodes multiple times. I always knew I had a giant crush on David because, like, obviously. But then when I was a bit older, I rewatched some of the episodes and was like, hey, Billie Piper is pretty hot, and wait a minute. Did I have a crush on them both this whole time? Nick pauses the video. He sits there in silence, realizing. Title card, Heartstopper. It's actually really funny Alice wrote that for the vlogger because she's already made a mini-comic where Nick has the same exact realization about Doctor Who specifically. Interior, Nick's bedroom, night. Nick is tucked up in bed, watching another Layla Vlogs video, growing up bisexual. Layla Vlogs. I'd keep second guessing myself. I'd have a crush on a guy and think, okay, well I'm definitely straight, but then I'd see a cute girl and be like, wait, I must be gay. But I knew deep down that I'd had real crushes on boys before that, and they counted too.
With confidence, please, everybody, come on!
Apparently, when they were filming season 1 of Heartstopper, they asked Corina if she could play the clarinet. She said she couldn't, but that she was a quick learner and started to mime playing the clarinet, only to be told she was, in fact, miming playing the saxophone.
That's so good! Why do you have leftover cheese?
Always pays to be prepared with anti-homophobia cheese.
I can't believe you get the whole day off to rehearse for this.
Sometimes playing a musical instrument has its benefits.
Alice Oseman posted a clip of a deleted scene on Instagram stories on Heartstopper season 1's first anniversary, April 22nd, 2023. I'll show the clip after the text she wrote about it.
Go.
So, how did you two become friends?
I was friends with Charlie first, and then Tal came along as a package deal.
Rude!
You're lucky to have me.
And then we had a full chemistry read. We met, we all met, and it was like magic. I remember us doing the milkshake scene as like an improv-y, getting into it, and it was really fun, and that's what I remember and taking away. So yeah, the process was fun for me.
How many milkshakes did you have during the milkshake scene?
See, I was smart. And after Kizzy's reaction, I was like, that's not nice. So I didn't actually drink mine. I was always like, and then cut. I was like, amazing.
First take, I drank quite a lot of the milkshake. And then obviously for continuity reasons, I had to keep doing that. So they'd top it up and I'd prepare myself. And then I'd drink this mixture of flour, food colouring, water,
remnants of bubble gum.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. People giving me funny looks in the corridors, and I wasn't prepared for any of it, and I don't know how to behave anymore, and just want to live my life.
When I first got the script through, I had no idea about like the Heartstopper franchise. I didn't know it was a comic. I didn't know it was on the web first. But I remember reading it was the monologue that she does in the music room in season 1. I remember reading that and being like, oh my God, I want to play this character. She seems like so layered. Like she was talking about obviously coming out and how that felt, and also you got the sense straight away, because Alice is a wicked writer, like I got the sense straight away that she was like such a warm person and like worried about other people whilst trying to navigate how she felt about herself. So yeah, initially I was really excited, and I was like, I'd love to play something like this, so like layered, because as an actor that's such like a cool and like bitey thing to get into, which is why we do it.
Tara? Homophobia!
Women here, we got locked
in.
Going somewhere?
Jesus, Tori.
Quiet lies that you're telling to those black and screaming skies.
Well, it's 4 in the morning. Things are getting heavy.
Are you sure you want to go back to trim? Because you don't have to. We could all pretend to have sprained ankles or something.
Someone also says, Kizzy, did you steal anything from set?
Yes. Yes, I did. I was wondering if I should confess to that. In sports day, we had hoodies. I wore mine around my waist, and I couldn't leave that. So I've got this hoodie at home that has our school Higgs logo on it. I also accidentally, I took a tie from the school, didn't realise it had the microphone in it. So there's a mic at my house now.
And when I was at school, I thought that hiding from it all was safer, easier. But sometimes the loneliness was just as bad. Don't let anyone make you disappear, Charlie.
And it's when he says, don't let anyone make you disappear, Charlie.
Yes.
How do you feel about that scene?
I mean, I love it. I think visibility is sort of a word that gets thrown around a lot, but I think it's so vital. Like visibility, representation, they're so vital, because there's a kid somewhere who has never met a gay person or seen a gay person. Maybe it's not allowed in their household or something. I don't know. And then they see a show like Heartstopper, or they see an out openly gay actor or actress, or a trans actress, or any number of people from the LGBTQ plus community, and they see themselves. And they go, I'm not a freak, I'm not an alien, I do exist, and there are people like me. Because I think when I was growing up, it was a dirty secret. It was like, it was a dirty, evil, nasty, shameful thing to be. So you hid it away. But the hiding is misery. And Mr. Ajayi has already seen Charlie do it. And then he's seen him come out of that place, really blossom, and then like start to go back. He's like, I'm not having it. I'm not having you do that. I'm not going to have sat here for months helping you for you to then go and squirrel away and hide. Absolutely not. Disappearing is not an option because it serves no purpose and it'll only hurt you. Go out there, be seen, be bold, and reap the rewards. And so I think for Mr. Ajayi in that moment, he goes, if I can teach this child one thing, it'll be live openly and bravely and don't disappear. Because the benefits of living openly far outweigh anything you think you'll gain from hiding it away.
I have a really long list of movies I need to force you to watch.
I'm probably going to hate most of them.
I know.
I was going to tell you something.
Ooh, what was she going to say?
You've got the wrong team's face paint on.
That's Charlie's fault as well.
Why are you leading us on like that?
What is wrong with you guys? That's a really
It's one of my faves actually of the vet arc
of season 1.
Yeah.
And most people were like, you left us on a cliffhanger with that scene. So yeah, I loved that. Was like one of my favourite scenes.
Sir, aren't you going to tell Nick Nelson that he has to do the match?
Nah, I'm good.
And then they were like, but we've got like some featured extras type thing, like characters with no names. I was student 3, I think it was. And we'd love to audition you for that. And it wasn't really an audition. It was more of just a meeting, but because obviously they've seen me act in them self-tapes. But I did a Zoom with Lucy, who's amazing. She's one of the casting people. And I had to say this, it was quite cringe actually. I had to say this one line. It was, sir, aren't you going to tell Nick Nelson he has to do the match? This one line on Zoom, and it was just like
Say
nothing.
that again.
Sir, and I say it exactly how I say it. I'm like, sir, and you're going to tell Nick Nelson he has to do the match. And it was like one of those things that was like, usually audition, they read you some lines back and it's like a long scene or something. And it was like, okay, and whenever she's like screen recording the Zoom. It's like, when you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Sir, and you're going to tell Nick Nelson he has to do the match. And I was like how are they auditioning me with this? Like, that is it, full stop. And then she was like, oh, great, we'll get back to you. And I went, if I don't get this, are you kidding me? One line. I've paid like to be at drama school. I can't even do this one line. And then I got an email, I think it was the next day or something. And like, oh, we'd love Bradley to come in on the 13th of April or whatever it was to do the line. And and I've never been on a set before. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done.
Describe it for me.
Like so first of all, you walk it. Luckily, I wasn't that starstruck because Heartstopper hadn't come out. This was the first season. But I think if it was season 2, I would have been like, oh, I've seen you. But I walked on set and then everyone was just so nice. Everyone was just like...
Was Nick Nelson there?
Yeah, everyone was there. Yeah, because I have to speak about him. And everyone's like, oh my God, lovely to meet you. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you're student 3. And I'm like, oh my God, is this like a running joke? Am I a joke or something? And they're like, oh yeah, it's like such a funny line because it is a funny line. And I was like, oh my God, am I meant to be funny in this? And then I started overthinking about how I'm going to say this line. And it was one line, it's not that deep. Then I sat around all day and they're like, Bradley, you're up. And I went, oh God.
Student 3.
Student 3, Bradley, you're up. And then Nick Nelson walks past and then I go, and they're like this, go. And I'm like, sir, aren't you going to tell Nick Nelson he has to do the match? And I say it like that. And I think they've picked the weirdest take.
And like one of my favourite bits in the whole show is, aren't you going to stop Nick Nelson from, it's like, no, I'm not going to stop that at all. Absolutely not. That's like the polar opposite of what I want to do. I want to like cheer for them and tell them they're brilliant. I feel like that line in that moment is like good. In front of an entire school on a big old sports day, you've done something incredibly bold for yourself. And I couldn't be prouder. I think Mr. Ajayi couldn't be prouder in that moment.
We're nearly there, I promise.
I will literally, like unironically, I was walking through St Pancras and I saw someone wearing my outfit in episode 8 of season 1 on the beach.
Really flattering orange t-shirt.
Orange t-shirt, which I hated.
You mean those ones with the sort of long jean shorts?
Yeah. And it's for some reason really caught on as a look.
Uh-huh.
And I remember putting it on and going, I said, Adam, our costume designer, I love you. You put me in some great stuff, but this, and they loved it. Everyone on the team loved it, and I didn't get it. But I will literally be walking down, and I'll see someone in that outfit, and this person had dyed their hair ginger. They had dyed their hair ginger. It wasn't a special event. They were just walking through St Pancras with the full outfit, and I was like, that's really crazy that this has happened.
Regina George, babe.
I wouldn't say that, but then I turned around. I went the other way because I thought I just don't know how I would be able to handle this situation.
Now they know.
Also, it could be brilliant. They might have just been dressing normally. They might not have even seen the show.
Might have nothing to do with you.
Maybe I'm just obsessed with the show.
Why are we like this? What are you doing? There we go.
I really wanted to drop you in. Also, you can see the continuity difference because we only had like a couple pair of shorts.
Yeah.
So the shorts would just go like, you know, there would be wetness to like here and then to here, but no one notices, so that's good.
Until now.
It's good. You know, now we can distract them in season 2.
It's a very cute scene.
It's a cute scene.
Gets me every time.
Oh, sweetheart.
Oh, darling.
Oh, darling. The water was quite cold, actually.
I
think the water was cold, but it was more just the thing of sort of getting out and being wet that was really uncomfortable. But I also just hate wearing jean shorts, and I have to wear a lot of jean shorts on this show. So getting those wet as well was just a mixture of
it's like chafing
of discomfort. Exactly that, Joe. It was a lovely experience that day.
Oh, I can't watch this bit.
Why?
Get the ick. The wet jean shorts give me the ick. I don't know, we never like confirmed it. Why are we like this? What are you doing? There we go. We love going in the sea, don't we?
I have a boyfriend!
Yeah.
And then I say, I like Charlie's. No, you're my boyfriend.
You're my boyfriend! I'm your boyfriend! We're boyfriends!
Dad, drop me!
I'm not gonna drop you.
Charlie Spring's my boyfriend. I'm his boyfriend. We're boyfriends.
We're boyfriends! Like that?
Yes! We're boyfriends!
Dad, drop me!
I'm not gonna drop you.
He's my boyfriend. Charlie's my boyfriend.
Oh, I wasn't actually here for this scene, so this is all secondhand information, but I think they had to shoot it a few times because Olivia was crying, is what I remember someone saying. I snuck onto set that day, but wasn't there for that scene because I wanted to meet her, and they weren't letting anyone come to set, so they're like, on the day of, our director, which I think was just so I could meet her, was like, oh, we need you for a pickup to do one singular shot of this thing that we probably won't ever use. But it meant that I got to meet her, so that was nice, and she was very, very lovely.
I still like girls, but I like boys too. We're going out, and I just wanted you to know.
Oh, baby. Oh, thank you for telling me. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like you couldn't tell me that.
That's my favourite scene in the show.
It's so warm as well. Like, every time I watch that, I smile.
Smile and tears in my eyes every time.
It was a really, really lovely scene to make, and I felt that it was a very important scene to make. And I think that coming out is an extraordinarily important moment for, a lot of people, and therefore something that, you want to do justice and you want to get right. I had to watch this scene so many times now that you continue to pick yourself apart, but it's a lovely scene, and Olivia is just amazing in it.
When Nick Nelson comes out, it's beautiful. Socks, 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 more socks.
And that's all the stuff I missed for season 1, for now. I'm sorry I couldn't really get properly into detail about the music here either. Like I said, can't really get it to fit in with everything. That's why I'll be making a whole separate series of music deep dives for season 3. For those of you wondering, yes, I'm working on my deep dive series for season 3. I will be aiming to keep my usual schedule of about half a year to get the videos ready to post. This is in part due to how long it takes to research and edit them, but also, as you've seen here in this very video, because it takes a while for the material I need to come out, and even still I inevitably miss things that get posted way later, and then I have to make another video like this. Hope to see you then!